from Cedar Rapids, Ohio, and Mataji will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagvatam 7.13. Verse 35 and onwards. Hare Krishna Mataji, welcome to the call. Please take over the call now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you all so much. Very happy to associate with you all again. We'll start with Mangalacharan prayers and then we'll continue discussing the verse. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet 7.13.35. Correct, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
This is the chapter name is The Behavior of a Perfect Person. So all of us were trying to become perfect, but mostly we try to become perfect in the material things. But here Krishna, in Bhagavatam, in this conversation between Prahlad Maharaj and an Avadut Brahman, we will learn how to be a perfect sannyasi, gruhastha, human being. So this is the conversation that is happening. And now so in the beginning, he already explained about the sannyasis, which you all might have already discussed. And then the Brahmana glorifies Prahlad Maharaj and then describes Prahlad Maharaj learns from him many things. And the Brahmana himself tells what he has learned from a bumblebee and python. So 35, 36, 37, all these verses can be learned, can be read together. So we'll try to cover 35, 36, 37 and learn two important lessons which the Brahmana has learned from these two, bee and python, which are useful for us also in our life and which helps us to grow spiritually and also to have a meaningful human form of life and a happy life. So these are the wonderful verses. Madhukara Mahasarpau Lokesminno Guruttamau Vairagyam Paritosham Cha Praptayachikshaya Vayam. Madhukara, bees that go from flower to collect honey. Mahasarpau, the big snake, the python, which does not move from one place to another. Loke, in the world, asmin, this, naha, our guru, spiritual masters, uttamo, first class, vairagyam, renunciation, paritoshanam, cha, and satisfaction, prapthaha, obtained, yat sikshaya, by whose instruction, vayam, we. Translation: the bee and the python are two excellent spiritual masters who give us exemplary instructions regarding how to be satisfied by collecting only a little and how to stay in one place and not move. There is no purport for this, so I'm just reading the next one and we'll discuss this verse. Viragah sarvakamebyah sikshito me madhuvrataat कृच्छार्तं मधुवद्वित्तं हत्वाप्यन्यो हरेत् पतिम्. Viragaha, detachment, sarvakamebhyaha, from all material desires, sikshitaha, has been taught me, unto me, madhuvrata, from the bumblebee, kruchra, with great difficulties, aptam, acquired, madhuvat, as good as, honey, money is honey, vittam, money, hatva, killing, api, even, anyaha, another, haret, takes away. Patim, the owner. From the bumblebee, I have learned to be unattached to accumulating money, for although money is as good as honey, anyone can kill its owner and take it away. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The honey gathered in the comb is taken away by force. Therefore, one who accumulates money should realize that he may be harassed by government or by thieves or even killed by enemies. Especially in this age of Kali Yuga, it is said that instead of protecting the money of the citizens, the government itself will take away the money with the force of law. The learned Brahmana had therefore decided that he should not accumulate any money. One should own as much as he immediately needs. There is no need to keep a big balance at hand, along with the fear that it may be plundered by the government or by thieves. The 35 and 35, as I mentioned in the beginning, are going to teach us satisfaction and renunciation, that is detachment. So satisfaction is learned from Python, and detachment, the bumblebee, teaches the detachment or vairagya or renunciation. So the bee and the python are two excellent gurus. That is what the Brahmana is telling Prahlad Maharaj here, that Madhukara Mahasarpo. Madhukara is bee which collects honey, compared to us who always spend most of the time in acquiring money. So the priority for most of the human beings is like how I can earn a lot of money. So we all think that having a lot of money brings us a lot of happiness. So we try to acquire a lot of money, similar to Madhukara. So the bees put a lot of effort and collect honey. Mahasarpa, python. Python does not move from place to place, it stays at one place. So Python is teaching satisfaction. Madhukara is teaching detachment or vairagya. Loke, in this world, asmin. Loke asmin guru uttamau. So this Brahmana is saying these two are guru uttamau, greatest spiritual masters. So if we are little observant in our life, we learn so many lessons from the people around us and from the animals or incidents happening. We don't need to wait for that incident to happen to us to learn a lesson. If we are little observant, we will learn when it is happening to others, and then we can correct ourselves. So that will be the best learning. Like we can be safely learning without not in a hard way. So here the Brahmana is saying that these two are greatest first class gurus because they teach vairagyam, renunciation. This is very difficult. Vairagyam, detachment from material desires, is the most difficult thing. Material relationships or material desires is the most difficult thing. And if we can achieve this, we will be living happily even in this material world, and we will progress and we will go back to Godhead also. But these two things are very difficult to achieve. Vairagyam and then paritoshanam cha, satisfaction. Praptaha, obtained, et sikshaya, by those by whose instructions I am obey. So I have learned detachment and satisfaction from those two animals. Sorry, these two living entities. So that's what he says. And in 36 he said, Bumblebee, he has learned to be unattached to accumulating money. So most of the time we misunderstand detachment. Detachment, we think that um, it makes us inhuman, or the more we think that detachment means being aloof from what is happening, or being very hard-hearted and not responding, not feeling bad, um, or not caring. So the understanding of detachment is somewhat like this in people's mind. When we say be detached, um, then people generally take it to that extreme, thinking that, okay, we have to now give up our family relationships, give up everything that what we are doing, and then only we will be able to progress. So detachment has to be understood very clearly here. So Krishna has mentioned in Bhagavad Gita many times. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there is a discussion happens. What is the best renunciation? Leaving everything and taking the sannyas ashrama and going, or what is the, he asked, like, I want to understand, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation and renounce order of life, like tyaga and sannyasa. So similarly, tyaga, sannyasa is like kind of a detachment, renunciation, renounce order of life, leaving everything and going. So multiple times in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that giving up the results of the actions is the greatest renunciation, not the action itself. So generally what we do is we try to give up the action itself. Like, let's say I have cooked a meal for a family member or for somebody who has come, and then they have not given me a good feedback for that meal that I have cooked. Then immediately our immediate reaction will be like, I will stop cooking. Anyway, they are not appreciating. I will stop doing this action because I'm not receiving any kind of a response in a way that it encourages me, or in a way that I have expected. So our immediate reaction is that giving up the action. But Krishna never ever advised that to Arjuna. He said that do your actions with detachment. So detachment here means like giving up the results of our actions. So most of the time, any action that we perform is with an expectation of a result. If there is no result expected, we don't even have motivation to perform that action. So that is the cause of all unhappiness for us, because we have something expected and then that is not getting fulfilled, and now we are demotivated to perform that action. So if we can practice giving up the results of the actions, then we will be karmanyevadikarasya. So Krishna says in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita that you are not entitled to the results of your actions, but you perform the actions with full sincerity and dedication. Because again, we learn in Bhagavad Gita that for fulfilling an action, there are 5 factors. So we are only one. We are not the sole doer of any action. And the biggest role play for any action to be successful is mercy of Krishna. So we ignore that and we want to become the sole doer of the action. So we easily associate ourselves with the result of the action. And then when we associate ourselves with the result of the action, our action is now dependent on the result. So if the result is good, our action is good. If the result is bad, we give up the action. So that is not real renunciation. So telling that I'm not going to eat dinner, so I'm not going to cook dinner, is not what is required here. We giving up. So detachment actually makes us to think wisely in difficult situations. The more we are attached, the more our decisions are influenced by our attachment. So the whole Mahabharata happened because Dhritarashtra was very much attached to the kingdom. He was not ready to give up his desire to become a king. And he has, by his actions and by his thoughts, he always silently supported Duryodhana, because Duryodhana was also convinced that his father is supposed to be king and he is the righteous heir of that kingdom, and he has to become king. And Dhritarashtra, even though he is in a position to advise his son, and many times Vyasadev, Bhishma, and all came and asked him to stop Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra didn't put enough effort. He knows the consequences of the bad actions which Duryodhana was doing. So he stops him, but he doesn't put a lot of effort and put some thought in his head that he should not be doing that, because he has a hope that by his actions, somehow or the other, Duryodhana will be able to win the kingdom and he will become king, and then he can enjoy that being a king. So that is the mindset which Dhritarashtra was having. So he has so much attachment to kingdom that he he was not only blinded physically, but he was blinded to all the dharma. He was blinded to what is right, what is wrong, because of his attachment. So most of the times, all of us also, we get angry, we get disappointed where our attachment is. So if we start analyzing, like when we are disappointed or when we are getting angry, we can we can trace it back to our attachment. And most of the time, we always think that it is the opposite person who is making us angry, or is the opposite person who is making us disappointed. But it is our attachment is what is making us disappointed. Our attachment is what is making us anger. So if I don't, let's say I have attachment to watch a favorite show on the TV, and then I every day watch that, and that day I sat down and I wanted to watch, and I have a little child at home, and they don't know that I have been attached to that show, and they keep coming and asking me questions or disturbing me. So even though that child is my favorite child, I at that point, because I have attachment at that point, because I have attachment to the that particular watching of that particular TV or TV show. TV show is a simple thing that I'm mentioning, because my expectation is not met, I get angry. And then when I get angry, my intelligence is completely closed. The verses in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says how our intelligence is closed when we are angry, and then we become deluded and we think that uh, whatever we are doing at that point of time is right, even though we will be doing the most stupid thing or unintelligent thing or thing that can take us away from Krishna. We will start acting upon it because now we are influenced by anger, which has arisen from the attachment that we had. So from anger, complete delusion arises. That means delusion means whatever the attachment that we have at that point of time, we start thinking that if I don't get that, I won't have any kind of happiness, or that is what is the life and soul of my existence at that point of time, even though it's not true. So that's what the delusion, it's not true. By not watching that favorite show at that point of time, we're not going to miss anything, but that the delusion has already came in our mind because of our attachment, and we think that I'm going to miss the biggest thing in the world at that point of time, or I'm going to be unhappy forever if I don't do that. And then that is the delusion, like believing in something which is not real. And then we start believing in that. And from delusion happens bewilderment of memory. What is this bewilderment of memory? I have stored instructions from past sessions of Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, that what is right and what is wrong. I know what is right and what is wrong, but because of delusion, I'm now confused. And I start forgetting what is right and what is wrong, or I'm confused about what is right and what is wrong. So I won't act upon the right thing. So when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. So the discriminating power of right action and wrong action is lost. When intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So one starts acting in a way that he will fall down. Fall down does not really mean that, uh, uh, fall down here means more than that, more than just falling down from our moral position or a social position to the lives of animals, because we stopped using our intelligence. We stopped discriminating between a right action and a wrong action, an action that we should be performing as a human being to uplift ourselves and our consciousness. And we start now performing actions which are not befitting to be a human. And then we are qualifying ourselves to become an animal in our next lives. So our attachment is actually what is leading to all these things. So if we can put a pause button as soon as we are getting angry or upset or feeling low, depression, or any kind of emotions, where is our attachment? Why is it happening to me? If we start back, if we start tracing it back, we will go and find an attachment that is what is causing it. And if this attachment is towards any of the material things or material desires, it is going to take us away from Krishna, but not closer to Krishna. And then when we are going away from Krishna, we are qualifying ourselves to have more and more material lives where we will be repeatedly doing the same thing and not going anywhere. So the whole purpose of human form of life for us is to revive our relationship with Krishna and go back to our home, to the spiritual kingdom where we actually belong, and attain a spiritual body and come out of this cycle of birth and death, disease and old age, and be in our eternal position as the servant of Krishna. But now we are ending up in a more difficult situation where we are pushing down ourselves towards the animal lives. And once we enter into the animal life, the progression is very slow. You have to take every life in that animal cycle, and then only you will be awarded human being. Not just one animal life will, the next life will be human. And not every human who dies will be born as a human also. Many have no knowledge about that, and they spend their whole life in these four activities: eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. And most importantly, in acquiring money. Prime time in the life, we all run behind earning money, saving money. Most of the time, we earn and save money than more than what we require, because we think that I'm going to save money for my family members, my grandchildren, or I may be in need of it. And then we forget that I am missing the valuable time in my life, the valuable time in my life. Like, how do we place the devotional service in our life? Like how in India, in my childhood, if any food is left over, they used to wait. Nowadays, it's not happening. Any food is left over, they used to wait till night, because in night the beggars used to come to every house and take the leftover food, and then they used to eat. They are also satisfied by that, and people are also like, we are not throwing the food, we are giving it to beggars, and they are eating it. So similarly, we act. We give the leftover time, leftover energy in the service of Krishna. We keep all everything else as priority. And then if I don't have anything else going on that day, I'll be more serious about Krishna consciousness. I'll chant more at that time. I'll hear more Krishna Kada at that time. If something else is happening in my life, little bit like any little bit important thing, I'll keep Krishna consciousness behind. I'll keep chanting of the holy names behind. And then I'll focus on that. So that is not we should be doing. So the prime time in our life, 20 to 50 years, 25 to 50 years as Gruhastha, where we earn money. We think that this is the time I have to earn a lot of money for myself and also for my family members and all. And then we go beyond. There are already people who work a lot to get little bit of money, and they don't have time. Genuinely, they don't have time, because they have to work hard to maintain their needs, not wants. But most but 30 to 40% of people, I mean, this number is not mentioned in it, so don't take it literally. I'm just telling um, how most of the people, the upper middle class or most of the people who do is like they are not able to differentiate between the needs and wants. And nowadays, people completely forgot that they have to differentiate between a need and a want. Everything is a want. Everything is a need. So everything is a need. Like not satisfied with what we have, and there is something or the other new coming in the market with respect to everything, the gadgets that we are using, the cars that we are driving, the clothes that we are wearing, and people are just running behind acquiring all those things. And then uh, for acquiring all those things, you need a lot of money. To need a lot of money, you have to work more. And to work more, you have to sacrifice more time in your day. And when you sacrifice more time in your day, in your jobs, and in acquiring money, you are left with very little time to perform the Krishna conscious activity because you are tired at the end of the day. And then you don't have any motivation to perform the Krishna conscious activity. And then you keep that behind. And what is happening? The human form of life, day by day, is getting closer to end. And then we, after earning all these money, many people are disappointed because for whom they have earned this money are not reciprocating in the same way they expected, because you have sacrificed a lot of your time and energy, and you have changed your priorities, and you lived completely on a false identity that I am this human body, and then I have to earn and I have to take care of my relationship with respect to the human, and we completely killed our soul. Because when we are not performing actions with respect to the soul, that is engaging in the service of the Lord, the soul is actually unhappy, because the soul's real position is that it is eternal servant of the Lord. And we, not knowing that soul is unhappy, we are trying to find, actually the soul is unhappy, and we are trying to go around and find happiness in the material things which will never make the soul happy. And then we are also not happy because we have tried to fulfill the desires of all the people around us, and now they are not reciprocating in the same way back to us, and now we are disappointed. And for the same money, the close relationships for with whom we have lived are now ready to kill each other, because money is like honey. Money is very important. And every day in and day out, we see the people killing their own grandfathers, killing their own fathers, mothers for money. Because money is so like attractive. So we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita also a story from Sanatana Goswami. Um, if I remember correctly, like he will have one piece of diamond or coin left, and for that a thief wants to uh, kill him. One of the He follows him as a follower and he wants to kill him, so he gives that away to him, like, oh, I don't need this, you take and use it. So in the same way, the more we are accumulating the money, the more we have to spend time in maintaining it, actually. And then the more we spend time in maintaining it, we lose time in performing Krishna consciousness. So we cannot put our leg on both the boats. Like, I will be fulfilling the material desires, and also I will progress in spiritual. Bhoga Aishwarya Prasaktanam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, those who are attached to the Bhoga and Aishwarya, those who are attached to material material desires, and also like Bhoga, enjoyment, and Aishwarya, opulences. So Bhoga Aishwarya Prasaktanam, who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence. So if we are attached to fulfilling our senses by engaging ourselves in different material activities, and also engaging our time and energy in acquiring lot of material opulences, the determination to perform devotional service to the Lord does not take place. 2.44, second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 44th verse. Krishna says very clearly, in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things. Right now, we are bewildered by such things because we think that happiness is in there. So we are attached to those things. When we are attached to those things, we engage all our time and energy in acquiring those things. So the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So we won't be very serious in performing our devotional service to the Lord. We are not serious in getting up and chanting. We are not serious in chanting the 16 rounds of Maharinama Japa because it takes 2 hours of time. And 2 hours of time, we think that I can make a lot of money in that, or I can watch so many shows, or I want to enjoy. I will I will do my chores, which will by doing my chores at the home, I'll save my time and then I can enjoy later. So we don't have that determination to do anything big happening in the material world will take us away from Krishna, and we won't be serious. So we have to learn practicing detachment. Detachment will help us to take decisions wisely. It will not shut us down when we are detached to the results of actions. So we should practice that. I will be performing every action for the pleasure of the Lord, and I won't be attaching myself to the results of the action. So if we try practicing this, not attaching ourselves to the results of the action and performing each and every action sincerely to the fullest extent that we can do for pleasing the Lord, our actions will become better, and our chances of becoming disappointed becomes less, and our chances of this karma attaching to us becomes binding us also becomes zero, because now we are not attached to the results of the action. We are offering all the results of the actions to Krishna. So those karmas that we are performing are not going to bind us. Even even good karmas will bind us. Many of us doesn't know that. We think that only bad karmas bind us. Even the good karmas will bind us. The good actions that we are taking are also going to bind us, because we have to take birth and enjoy the results of that actions. And for enjoying, we have to come into this material world only, not to the spiritual world. So when we come into this material world for enjoying the results of our good actions, we are prone to three kind of miseries: Adibhuta, Adidhaivika, Adhyatmika. Miseries that are given by our material body and mind, miseries that are given by other living entities, miseries that we are going to get by the natural calamities. This nobody can escape. However rich you may be, you cannot escape the miseries from these things, and we cannot escape birth, death, disease, and old age. Even though we came for enjoying the results of our good actions, these things are already there. So to not get our actions bind us, we have to perform actions by giving up the results of our actions, by offering the results of our actions to Krishna, and performing our actions sincerely to our fullest strength, because we are offering those actions to Krishna. We are giving those actions to Krishna as an offering. So our offering should be the bestest to our bestest, because Krishna sees our sincerity, not the how big is our action, how successful is our action. He never grades us based on how successful we are. Oh, I went on a book distribution, but I could not sell any book, so I my whole process of book distribution is failure now. No, did we put a sincere effort or not? And if we put a sincere effort, results doesn't matter. The sincere effort that we are putting to 100% fullest strength is what is going to please Krishna. So by giving up the results of our actions is the real renunciation, real detachment in everything that we do. Raising children, raise children without expectation that they will become something and they're going to come and take care of us, or they're going to do this to us, or they I want them to be this popular, this doing anything without without attachment to the result. So so if we learn from Kaikeyi is another good example from Ramayana. Wow. If you ever go and read in Ayodhya Kanda, the episodes, Dhritarashtra is one example, and Kaikeyi is another great example that how attachment can cause destruction and devastation in our lives. So she was all okay when she first hears the news that Rama is going to become the king. She was equally happy. But then she gives her ear to Manthara. And Manthara pollutes her consciousness. She says that if Rama becomes king, you will become a servant to Kausalya. And all your maid servants, all of us has to go and serve her. So you make use of the boons that Dasratha Maharaja has given to you. And then you go and ask him to send Rama to forest for 14 years and then make Bharata king. So then Mandara talks and talks and talks until Kaikeya gets convinced. And this lady, Kaikeyi, once she gets convinced, once she get attached to the thought that she is going to become the king, a mother of a king, or once she get bewildered of the thought that she is going to become a maid servant if she does not become a mother of a king, makes her so hard-hearted that her attachment to that makes her so hard-hearted that she goes and asks Dasrath Maharaj. Dasrath Maharaj cries. He faints. And he says that, I will give you another option. I'll make Bharata king, but I will not send Rama to forest. He's very dear to me. Let him stay in front of me. I won't send him. That will fulfill your desire of making Bharata the king. She does not listen. Sumantra, who is the minister of Dasrath Maharaj, he comes and tells her. He also quotes the example of her mother, who was so adamant to know what his father, because Kaike's father has a boon that he can listen to the people what they are thinking or what they are talking. So when they are when they are out in a forest, he listens to two birds talking and he laughs because he hears their conversation and he finds it funny and he laughs. Then Kaikeyi's mother asks him, "Can you tell me what is the conversation? Why are you laughing?" Then he says that I heard the conversation of those two birds and it is funny, so I was laughing. Then she will say like, "No, you're laughing at me." Then he says, "No, I'm not laughing at you. I really heard the conversation of them, and I'm laughing because I have this boon that I can hear those conversations." Then she says, uh, um, "Then reveal that conversation to me." He says, "If I reveal that conversation to you, my head will break into pieces. I have a boon that I can hear to those conversations, but I cannot reveal those conversations to you. That will cause my death." And then she says, "No, I don't care. I have lived enough with you. I don't care whether you die or not. You have to reveal that conversation to me because this curiosity, this anxiety is killing me." Then he goes back to the sage who has given him that boon. He asks, "Is there any exception if I reveal the conversation that I don't die?" He says that no, there is no exception. You will die if you reveal the conversation. You make a choice whether you want to reveal the conversation or you want to leave that woman and go. So then the Kaike's father, he does not reveal the conversation and he leaves her and goes. So Sumantra, the minister of Dasratha, reminds Kaikeyi that you are acting exactly like your mother, adamant on your boons, and you are sending Rama to forest. Back off from that boon, and then we will make Bharata the king. Because if Rama leaves to the forest, entire Ayodhya is going to become upset. Everybody is upset. Everybody will become lifeless. Everybody, and you will be cursed. And she does not listen to that. And then he says that Dasratha says, "I'm going to send a lot of clothes, rathas, and all with Rama to the forest because Rama is somebody who has never lived in forest or who always sleeps on nice beds and all." She says no to that also. She says no. And all the sages, Vyasa Maharshi, everybody gets surprised why she is so adamant, why she's so cruel. Because she does not want Rama to come back. She wants all the people of Ayodhya to forget Rama and register Bharata as the king, so that even when Rama comes back, Rama cannot become king. So that's her whole thought process. So she wants to give a difficult life to Rama in the forest. And then she denies all the clothes even for Mother Sita. That's when uh, um, uh, that's when Vasishtha Maharshi, he says that you cannot do that. Your boon is up to only Rama and Bharata. So you cannot torture her. She cannot wear the clothes which like how Rama and Lakshmana are wearing. She's a queen. She's a princess. So she has to wear all the jewelry and all clothes, and she should have all the comfort. So all the sages, all the ministers, Dasarada, Kausalya, everybody tries to convey Kaikeya, but she's not ready to listen because her attachment is so strong that she completely lost her intelligence, completely lost what she is doing, how she is behaving. She's going to lose her husband. She was ready for that, but still she wants her desire to be fulfilled. So when Rama leaves, Dasratha comes back and says that you are no longer my wife, and anybody belonging to you are no longer the citizens of this, are my citizens. I'm not going to take care of any of you. So she loses, she drops down from the position of being a favorite wife to somebody who is not even seeing the king now. All this is because of her attachment. So our attachments makes us immune to what is right and wrong, makes us hard hearted, makes us do the things which we will not be doing otherwise. So if this attachment, how to develop detachment to these material things is attaching ourselves to Krishna, attaching ourselves to Harinam, attaching ourselves to Krishna Katha. Initially, we will not be, because we are right now contaminated. We are not purified. We have lost anger, greed, the six enemies in our heart, and we are very much attached to the material desires and material things. The attachment to Krishna Katha does not happen naturally to us. So, what we have to do, we have to force us, we have to convince ourselves and say that this is right, this is good. I am going to get myself attached to Krishna. So when we get ourselves attached to Krishna, detachment to material things happens. Like if a small child, a 2-year-old child, is holding a scissors in her hand, and then she's not giving how much ever we are asking, what will we do? We give something attractive thing to her, saying that take this. The moment we say take this, like an ice cream or something, they will drop whatever there is there in their hand, and they will take that ice cream. So right now, for our senses, for us, we have to give that ice cream, that sweet, that is Krishna Nama, Krishna Katha. Then automatically our attachment to the material things will go away. And how will we develop that strength? By chanting the holy names of the Lord. The more we chant sincerely, the more we chant quality rounds, the more we will get attached to Krishna. And slowly, slowly, when there is a sun, there is no darkness. If our eyes are open, our windows are open, there is no way that the light will not come inside. The light of Krishna Prema, Krishna Kada will automatically come inside us, and all the impurities in our heart, lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy, jealousy, everything will go away. We don't need to pick one thing and purify ourselves. We just have to chant our holy names sincerely, regularly listen to Krishna Kada. Whether I like it or not, I'm going to listen it. So when you get when you get a medicine, antibiotic for an infection, sometimes it won't taste good. It may give us side effects, but still we take it because we know that it is going to cure me. Similarly, Harinam, Krishna Kada, service to Krishna is going to cure me, whether I like it or not. Right now, I'm not liking because I'm sick. I'm materially sick. I'm attached to the material things. And once I get rid of this attachment, I'm going to taste the Harinam. So until then, I am going to voluntarily take up and force myself to do that, convince myself to do that. So in this way, our attachment to the spiritual things, our attachment to Krishna, our attachment to Harinam, our association with devotees, reading regularly, eating prasadam regularly is going to make us detached to the material desires and make us renunciate, give up the results. So from bumblebee, we need to learn that how much we acquire the money and keep, that is going to be taken away at the end. Either we are going to leave the material things and go die, or the material things are going to leave us. So we need to know how much time we can dedicate to these material things. Whether if they are not needs, we should not spend time on them. If they are taking us away from Krishna, then that's a big no to keep us away. How much ever we like it, we have to convince ourselves and force us not to get involved in those things which are going to take us away from Krishna. In that way, we will practice renunciation and we will make full use of the human form of life. So the 37th verse is talking about the satisfaction, or how we can learn that from Python. The first 35 verse has spoken about renunciation, and this one, aniha paritushtatma yadruchapannatad aham no chechye bahav ahani mahahir iva sattavan. I do not endeavor to get anything, but I am satisfied with whatever is achieved in its own way. If I don't get anything, I am patient and unagitated like a python and lie down in this way for many days. One should learn detachment from the bumblebees, for they collect drops of honey here and there and keep it in their honeycomb. But then someone comes by force and takes away all the honey away, leaving the bumblebees with nothing. Therefore, one should learn from bumblebee not to keep more money than one needs. Similarly, one should learn from python to stay in one place for many, many days without food and then eat only if something comes in its own way. Thus, the learned Brahmana gave instructions gained from two creatures, namely the bumblebee and the python. So python stays in one place, and whatever the food that comes its way, it will eat. On all the days, it does not eat. Yadrucha lapa sampanno. So a Brahmana or a devotee, whatever commits on its own accord, they will accept that. They won't reject that. Like say if you are working 9 to 5 job and you are giving your 100% to that job, and if you are getting promoted or if you are getting more money, you won't deny saying that, oh, money is not good, I'm not going to take. Or if you have a good fortune of from your family, from your ancestors, it's not that you are going to give up that money or become sannyasi to that money. You take that edrucha, it has come, it's on its own way without any extra endeavor, it has come. Then you take it and use it in Krishna service, but you will not put extra endeavor to earn. That comes only when you are satisfied. Paritushta, when you are satisfied. The biggest problem right now is like attachment is one problem. The other biggest problem that we are all facing now right now is that not being satisfied with what we have. We are not at all looking at our blessings. We always look at what we don't have. That's why nobody is happy. So if we start, nowadays people talk about these affirmations, right? At the beginning of the day and the end of the day, what went good in your day? Most of the times we always think about what went bad in a day. But if we start changing our attitude to think about what went good in my day today, and be grateful that, be thankful to that for the Lord, and end our day with that note, we will develop that gratitude and satisfaction which energizes us and which gives a lot of hope to look at the next day. If you sleep with a lot of disappointment, lot of negative thoughts that so many things went bad, so tomorrow is going to be more worse, and then your day starts in negative only next day. You are not even starting it at zero, because you dwelled on so much on the negativity in the previous day, and also on the things that went bad on the previous day, so much so, and then you are like going into a guilt mode or not forgiving yourself. We may have done some mistake, we say sorry and we forget, or something might have went bad. I have a lot of expectations on this, it didn't happen. whatever it may be, if we start looking at the right things and positive things in whatever that day has happened, even if one positive thing is there in that day, being alive itself is the greatest positive thing that we can think of. And then be thankful to that, thinking that Krishna, I'm alive for one more day as a human, where I can engage in chanting of the holy names of the Lord, where I can hear your Krishna Katha, because that's the real purpose of the human form of life. The real purpose of human form of life is not acquiring a lot of money, building up so many material relations, earning a lot of money for our next 3 generations, being popular in the world. These are not the these are all not the criteria for a successful human form of life. For the successful human form of life, the criteria is whether you put effort in realizing who you are, whether you put effort in realizing that you are a soul, whether you put effort in realizing your relationship with Krishna. That is what guarantees us a second human form of life. Not how much money we have earned, how popular we are, how famous we are, how many relationships we have, how nicely we have maintained a relationship. No. Bhagavatam says that if performing your prescribed duties successfully and perfectly is not ending up in Krishna consciousness, it's of no use. So, performing all these prescribed duties perfectly should end up in Krishna consciousness. So, the success of human form of life is to become Krishna consciousness. So, if we are grateful being a human, grateful being chanting, able to chant the holy names of the Lord that day, able to engage in some service to Krishna and be grateful and be satisfied, then we will be happy and we will start our next day in a positive note. So, most of the time, we identify the urge for happiness of the soul as the urge for happiness from the body. So we are unsatisfied and we think that if I buy something, I'll be satisfied. Or if I enjoy something, I'll be satisfied. So we misjudge the unsatisfaction, the dissatisfaction that is coming from the soul. So we easily identify when the body is dissatisfied. Like when you are hungry, you know that if you eat food, the hunger will go away. If you are cold, you know that when you go closer to the heat, that heat will make you warm. But oftentimes, when we are spiritually not unhappy, when we are spiritually unnourished, that means when we are not engaging in the service of the Lord, when soul is dissatisfied, we don't diagnose that properly. And we think that by engaging, by eating more, by enjoying more, by watching movies more, by buying stuff more, by going on vacation with friends, we will be happy. No, the soul will be happy when we engage in service of the Krishna. The soul, the hankering for happiness is coming from the soul. Soul needs that love, and that love in its eternal relationship with the Lord. So when we satisfy the soul, automatically the body will be satisfied. Everything else will be satisfied. So the real satisfaction of the soul is when we engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So we misdiagnose the dissatisfaction that is coming from the soul, and we try to engage in more and more material things. And that's why we are not happy, because we engage ourselves in one material activity. After some time, we get bored and we go to another one, and then we go to another one. So, because we are finding the solution in wrong thing, soul is dissatisfied and we are trying to find happiness in the material things. Soul will be happy only when it is engaged as a servant of the supreme personality of the Godhead, because that's its real relationship. That is what it is trying to find. And then we are going and engaging in all the material things. Prabhupada writes in first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in verses 32 to 35. Materially, everyone wants to satisfy his senses, and he wants God to be the order supplier for such satisfaction. The Lord will satisfy the senses of living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. But when one takes the opposite way, namely, when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then by grace of Govinda, all desires of living entity are satisfied. Second canto of Bhagavatam, sixth, fourth, fifth, and sixth chapters speak about the creation of this material universe. Brahmadev instructs Narada Muni how this material universe has come. So in that, he says how all these senses have come. All the senses, they have their origin in Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all the senses have come from him. So when we satisfy him, when we engage in his service, because the origin of all our senses is in him, automatically all our senses will be satisfied. We don't know that, and we engage our senses in material things in the wrong way. And then we are not satisfied at all. If we are satisfied, let's say some of us will be worried about buying a big house for, let's say, 10-15 years. After buying that big house, we should be happy, right? But we are not happy. Something else will come. That means the material things, the material happiness that we are going to get is not permanent, and it keep changes, and it bores us. And the spiritual happiness is new every day, and it increases every day, and then it grows and grows. That happiness grows and grows every day. And Navayavanam, it gives us a new experience every day. And we don't need any external things for that happiness. For material happiness, you need some external thing, a TV, a phone, a relationship, or something. But for spiritual happiness, you don't need anything because Krishna is inside us as Paramatma. We can just sit wherever we are. We don't need anything else. We just sit wherever we are and keep chanting the holy names of the Lord. Keep listening to keep remembering the Krishna Katha that we have heard. We don't need anything else. Our spiritual happiness grows. So when we satisfy our soul, when we engage in the service of the Lord, even our senses will get satisfied, our soul will be satisfied. And when the soul is satisfied, body, which is alive because of that soul, will also be satisfied. Our mind will be peaceful. Our intelligence will be in the right place. But many of us go in satisfying some other things. So the immediate needs like eating, sleeping, drinking, all these things we should do to maintain our body, and then engage most of our time in satisfying our soul. So in our day, we have to prioritize, we have to give our prime time in the service of Krishna, and then Brahma Muhurta time, and then engage in our material responsibilities, earn money, whatever is needed for us to maintain our family and ourselves and our body and soul together, and again free us to engage in service of Krishna. If we have too many material desires, too many material things, then we have to work hard, and then we won't have time. So detachment and satisfaction helps us to progress in our spiritual life. If we are attached to material things, they take us away from Krishna. And if we try to find solution for our and if we are not satisfied, we are always unhappy, ungrateful, then we will be always running behind the material things, and then we won't be serious about our spiritual life. So Bumblebee and Python teach us that what the Avadhut Brahmana has told Prahlad Maharaj. So I will conclude here today's session, Matajis and Prabhujis. Any corrections, comments, or questions? I have completed 37 also, Mataji, so tomorrow is 38.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much for this nectar class, Mataji. You covered so many points, and especially you explained very nicely about how we should be grateful what we got in our life with Krishna's mercy, devotees' mercy, and the people around us, the devotees around us, how they help us in our devotional life. So thank you so much, Mataji, for this explanation. Hare Krishna. We should be grateful and we need to realize their help like that, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Padmini Radha from Gaithersburg. Thank you for such a wonderful class. Something that I needed to hear early morning, I guess. Very, very wonderful. I was constantly meditating on the fact that I wanted to ask you questions, but the question came in my mind, and in like 10 minutes, you were answering my questions. So I am eternally grateful for this class and this session because you answered so many of my questions. And all of them were from like day-to-day living. Questions, about work, about like climbing up at the ladder. You answered about promotions and whatnot. So thank you so much. And it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful class. I wanted to know if there is a recording for this class, Shamrasika Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. We have a recording and we put on the Everyday Chant group also.
Okay,
So,
so if you
and
could share the
I will share
location
with
where.
you also.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you
you.
so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for this very, very practical class. I mean, it helps us in our daily lives. All the shlokas tell us, but you have explained them so beautifully. Thank you, Mataji. Also, I have a question, Mataji. Like you said, it is beneficial to give the action to Lord Krishna rather than the result. Is that
No,
right?
results of action. Results of action. I mean, offer the results of our actions to Krishna. In
Not
that
the
way,
action.
actions also get offered to Krishna.
Right, but at what point in time? Because see, if the action has already happened and the result has happened, and we have not been able, one has not offered, at what can one offer it
You
later?
can you can say now also, Mataji, like Krishna, I'm offering all my actions to you. I was not aware at that point of time, but now I'm aware. So we can do that. Even after completing that action, we say that Krishna Arpanamastu. I'm offering all my actions to you, my Lord. So we can say that now.
Oh, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the wonderful class, Mataji. Like everybody is saying, it's good to hear this every day so that we don't get attached to the material activity. But my question now is, material activities and spiritual activities, and devotees are doing spiritual activities also. So how can we not be satisfied with with our spiritual activities? Like we should always hanker to do more and more, being always unsatisfied with our endeavor uh, to serve Krishna. Otherwise, we become complacent. So how can we, not be satisfied with material, but sorry, yeah, how can we be satisfied with material but be unsatisfied with spiritual? Thank you, Mati. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, when we are unsatisfied with spiritual things, um, anything with when it is connected to Krishna becomes spiritual. So if we are not satisfied by in our service to Krishna, devotees, I mean, pure devotees feel like that. They are not satisfied with how much ever they have done to Krishna, and they want to do more and more. And then even they don't consider themselves as pure devotees, so they think that they are most unqualified. But again, we always have to check our consciousness. Where is that unsatisfaction really coming from? Yeah, sometimes many of us, we somehow or other practice to be detached to the material things. But when we engage ourselves in spiritual things, unknowingly, we start hankering for recognition, for appreciation, or even in spiritual things, we bring that, we go into that mode unknowingly, being proud, like of what I am doing. So first thing we should check that these all things are not happening with us, because sometimes we again misdiagnose them, thinking that, oh, I'm going in the right way, I'm unsatisfied with Krishna's service, and that is the right thing to be. But it could be because I did not receive enough appreciation for my spiritual service, or I'm not recognized and all. So if these are not the causes for our dissatisfaction, again we have to remember that this thing we always have to remember. What is that? It's like we are not the doers. We are one of the five things that help us to perform anything. When we are able to do something in Krishna's service, also it is Krishna's mercy. And when we are not able to do, is also Krishna's mercy. So keeping Krishna in the center always, and being sincere with what we are able to do. The only criteria that we should always be checking, which nobody else outside know, but only we will know, whether I am sincere, whether I gave my 100% here or not. If I gave my 100%, when we are saying we give our 100%, is keeping in consideration our circumstances also. Like if we are gruhasthas and I have at my home, let's say a sick child that day, and then I have to take care of that sick child. And every day I go to the temple and do 4-5 hours of service because my child is happy, she goes to school, then I can go and do the service. But that day my child is sick, and then I cannot do that, and then I could only do an hour. Then within that circumstance, that is the best sincere service that we could have done. And when we are away from the service and taking care of our children, if we think these two are two separate actions, then we start developing hatred towards our material responsibilities or anything. When we are away from our service, we can think of that service and we can do service mentally to Krishna. So Krishna, physically I am here taking care of child, but I am always thinking of you. So there are different ways of serving Krishna. There is no one way of serving Krishna. So when we are dissatisfied in one particular thing, then we can find something where other service which we are like not disappointed or doing it to our best. And at every point of time, the only thing that we have to remember is like we are very sincere in doing our service and we don't have any other ulterior motive other than satisfying Krishna and doing it for the pleasure of the Krishna, giving our 100% to it. And being more and more sincere, we will be always satisfied with that because it is within our limits. But if we measure the result of our service with something different externally, that I have distributed books and I've become the biggest leader in book distribution, or I have spoken the class and I got this many appreciations and this, then again, like we are measuring our satisfaction based on the results. So always keeping it in this boundary that I'm being very sincere and I am keeping Krishna in the center. I'm doing it for the pleasure of the Krishna and not for any other motive. And then keep giving whatever we can in that situation. Actually helps us to be satisfied with our service, and then grow. And the point that you raise is also very important. There is a little catch here that doing whatever we can, we should not go into a comfort zone also and then think that, oh, this is only what I can do and I'm good with that. So we have to keep checking that also, that if there is any room for improvement for us, and if I can do, again that goes back to the point that if we are sincere, we will find a room for improvement and then we will do. And always remembering that whatever the service that we are able to do is not our own achievement, but it is mercy of Krishna and Guru. And as long as that mercy is there, we will be doing. And sometimes not doing is also their mercy, where we can think and mentally offer those services to Krishna. This is what I'm thinking, Prabhu. I don't know if I addressed your question correctly or not.
Yes. Thank It's important to have a consciousness to always think Krishna as a doer and do everything. And I always check if we have 100% sincere and not looking for an in adoration. Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you for the wonderful answer. Thank you. Correct.
Krishna.
Hi, Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. God bless you, Sri Prabhupada. It was such a nectarian class with anecdotes and calls for action, and how the I mean how our attachment to gratify our senses separate from Krishna, it puts us in all difficulty, and how attachment to Krishna relieves us from all of them. Yes, so important. And you gave the example of the medicine. The person who takes the medicine doesn't like it, but it's bitter, but it is to be taken with a. So yes, I mean, then that anecdote and that analogy and the other analogies, and then they were so powerful to drive home the message. Very important because it's. I mean, Gyan is one thing, and the building character is something else. The Ravana was Gyani. Hiranyakashipu was also Jnani, but they couldn't build their character. So very, very important to have aspirations, pure devotees like you, and purify ourselves. Please grace us with your pure aspiration in the future also, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I just have a question because it's coming to my mind is that, if we mentally offer everything to Krishna, like you said, and, all our results, it's very easy actually, the process, we're not used to easy things in life, like, so,
Yeah.
but is it 100% like the
Yes,
actions?
Mataji.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the actions which we don't even remember since birth, and we just offer them mentally, but it'll be done, right?
Yeah. Internal purification, internal focus on Krishna is very important because smaran, antakale chamam, antakale chamameva smaran mutta kaleva. So Krishna says smaran. At the end of the life, if you are thinking about me, you will reach me. Because Krishna, at the end of our life, we don't know what kind of a situation we will be in. So we will not be able to do any physical actions also, or we may not remember, we cannot get up and do any service. But if we are always thinking of Krishna, and then we will reach Krishna. So Krishna always sees whichever is best, action or intention, he takes that. In reality, both should align. Intentions and action both should align. Most of the time, whatever our intentions are comes into our actions generally. But sometimes there is a difference. There is a disconnect between our actions and intentions. Sometimes we may not be. We will be in the temple, in between, in the hall, and listening to the lecture or listening to the kirtan, but we may zone out and we may go to somewhere else. Our mind may go to somewhere else. And sometimes our mind is on Krishna, but we may not be in temple. Our actions are not there. So Krishna picks whatever is best. Like that's why Putana was delivered, right? Like Putana's action was like a motherly, but her intentions were bad. She wanted to kill Krishna, but her action was a motherly action. So that's why she was promoted to become a mother. Become that. So Krishna picks that. Krishna picks whatever is best. So even internally, that is what it should be. Externally, it does not look like a Krishna's service. Raising our children, taking care of our house, they all doesn't look like Krishna's services. But we are all doing those prescribed duties, and we are doing offering all those to Krishna for the pleasure of the Lord. Krishna says again in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, perform your prescribed duties. That itself becomes yajna when you offer it to Krishna. That's the basic thing. So when we internally, the intentions of doing these things for the pleasure of the Lord, keeping that thought inside and offering to Krishna is what it is considered and is taken and is accepted by the Lord.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please
Hare
accept my
Krishna.
humble all good requests of Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you for such a nice and wonderful class. As always, we like to hear you every time. In the context with your class today, I just want to mention about Uddhava also, who was a very learned person and very close to Krishna. But at the same time, he every time had one question to Krishna. I don't know whether I'm quoting it correctly, but what you are thinking of every time, Krishna, even if I'm in front, sometimes you are not present. And then Krishna, like maybe a question about bhakti, whom you love most. So Krishna refers to gopis in Vrindavan. So so then Uddhava also goes to Vrindavan to check exactly what is that which is attracting Krishna most. So your class gave everything almost, what has to be delivered and understood by us. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna says that in 7th or 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I dwell in devotees' heart always, and they are in me. They think about me, and I think about them always. So Krishna says that. So it's a mutual relationship with Krishna that is so wonderful. Like it's not one way, as many people think. Like, oh, only I have to, because I get these questions often from devotees when I give class. Oh, why only we have to do? So Krishna reciprocates our love. So when we think all the time about Krishna, we are also in Krishna's thoughts all the time. Thank you for bringing that beautiful point out, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, like it reminded me when Partha Prabhu mentioned about Ravana, was also a Brahmana. Basically, he was
Mhm.
also from the Rakshasa kull, but he was still, having all Brahminical qualities. But at the same time, his ego and his, lust
Mhm.
down, though he was so much learned, and the same thing. But Uddhava is a different example. But at the same, that example made me to think on this. But yeah, if you have any other examples, please mention, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So there are all the pure devotees of the Lord, the gopis, the Brahmanas' wives in Vrindavan. They always think about Krishna, whatever action they are doing. Their thoughts are always dwelling in Krishna, pure devotees. And Vidura and Vidura's wife, they all have so much love for Krishna. So there are so many beautiful devotees who carry on their activities, but they're always thinking about Krishna. Ambarish Maharaj, I was reading yesterday about Ambarish Maharaj, who's a king. He's not like somebody. King will have the biggest responsibilities, but Padhara Vindo. He uses his legs to go to the temple, hands to clean the temple, eyes to see the Lord, mouth to chant the holy names of the Lord, and always engaged in the service of the Lord. So these are all wonderful examples for us. We don't need to give up anything. We just have to keep Krishna in the heart, offer our actions to Krishna, and do not involve ourselves in the material things which will take away for Krishna. So all those devotees help us, inspire us.
Yes, Mataji. And I remember one more thing. Uddhava, when he goes to Vrindavana, maybe you must be knowing more on this. So, when he sees gopis into Krishna Bhav, like when gopis, he is so much convinced with because gopis
Yeah.
don't any problem to Krishna, like they are continuously absorbed into Krishna's bhakti. Uh, though maybe they are not having that knowledge like Uddhava, then Uddhava could not, like he that time he thinks that I am nothing, and when the gopis are walking from the Vrindavan soil, mitti, then they Uddhava just on the footprints of those soil, Uddhava picks up the soil and put on his own head, like saying at least let me get some bhakti from this.
Yeah, whoever he visits in Vrindavan, he could see that everybody is only thinking of Krishna in different bhavs, like Nand Maharaj and Yashoda are thinking about him as is their son, and gopis as their. So Uddhava gets like surprised, like, and then um, he takes and he takes their dust. Yeah,
And
that is I think 10th canto 40 something chapter speaks about Uddhava visiting Vrindavan.
mm, yeah, and also one recent example, like His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu visited our home and he was having some classes here. So
Mm.
we had Vrindavan Mitti from, I think Geeta Mataji brought that. I don't know exactly, but
Mhm.
I we just gave it to Yugal Kishore Prabhu. Like, even me, I just put it on my forehead, but Yugal Kishore Prabhu put on his forehead and he ate a little bit Mitti, so
Mhm.
it is that much important. So
Yes, Prabhu.
yeah.
I remember we are building a Hindu temple here, and
Uh-huh.
then the priest called us and asked, "Do you have by any chance the soil from Vrindavan? Because I want to put that here, in the temple Sankustapana." So he
Yeah,
was said, and
but
luckily Krishna's mercy I have, and then I shared, and he was so happy that he put that. So Vrindavan mitti is like so so
yeah,
holy.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
They already put that mitti there, right, Mataji?
Yeah, they put Prabhu because they're building it from scratch, the temple. So in the Sankustapana, they put the mitti of Vrindavan.
Nice, Mataji. Yeah, Geeta Mataji brought this time when she visited Vrindavan. Yeah.
Hari Bol.
That was from Nidhi one, Prabhuji. I actually, Savita Mataji asked me to bring from Raman Reti, but Prabhuji said not to pick up any sand because it's not auspicious to pick up. If everybody takes the sand, then, it's not good. So I brought this mitti.
That's nice, Mataji. Thank you. Nidhi one is the one where Krishna is to walk every day, So, yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
We'll conclude here, Prabhujis and Matajis. Please forgive me. I just have to go back to other services.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much for your
So
time.
much.
Your working day also, but still you gave such a wonderful class.
Oh, it
And
is always my pleasure to associate with you all. You're very special, all of you. So
yes,
thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
पाञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय।
Jai.
नमाचार्य श्रेयदास ठाकुर की जय।
Jai.
जय भागवतम की जय।
Jai.
Jai.
भगवत बनवालिनी मंजरी माता जी की जय।
Jai.
थैंक यू सो मच
Ki
माता जी।
Jai.
कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.